Hey guys, AdmireFX right here. Welcome back to our usual weekly market forecast. So this is a usual weekly market forecast for the week of the 23rd to 27th of February. So without further ado, let's get over to the business of the day. And if you are watching this video to this very moment, please do well to watch to the end, because you are going to learn a thing or two through here, and also do well to smash the subscribe button and share the videos. Okay, so moving forward, we're getting started with gold. Okay, for last week on gold, we were looking forward for a sell to buy scenarios. Okay, we were looking for price to break out of these highs, most especially of the 5,000 ounce, between the 5,000 ounce to the upsides. But the first few days of last week, we had this bearishness all the way to the downside. So what did price do? Price decided to take the second trajectory of coming back, a pullback to this area, just like we were looking for, and price continuations to the upsides. Okay, so price has been very bullish on gold for the past few weeks. Okay, so moving forward for the coming weeks, all what we need to see on gold is nothing much. Okay, so we are going to plot some zones here. Okay, so we'll be looking for price to finally break this high, a retest, and a push continuations to our next level, which is the 5351 to the upsides. Okay, or if you wish to go more conservative, you can go to your minutes time frame or your 1 hour time frame. There are minor zones in which we can mark out. Okay, I think we already have that pullback. There is a previous high here in which price has respected in previous times. Okay, so working with this time frame, we could want to see price come into that area. Okay, pullbacks to 5047, then we can see price continuations all the way to the upsides of 5303 to the upsides. Okay, clearly gold looks bullish, so, and we are going to keep it that way. Okay, so that's it for gold, and up next is the DXY. So for the DXY for last week, DXY was projected into precision. DXY, we're looking forward. We actually gave you guys for bearish scenarios. So these are also the things that you have to take into considerations when we drop weekly market analysis like so, is because there could be analysis that we still have open minds to whatever price may wish to do on the coming weeks. Why is this so? Because last week we were looking for more bearish continuations, either price to go to this high and continue bearish, or price to break this low, okay, and continue bearish. So what happened in this case is we already had this support being marked out, okay, as our minor area of interest, in which we're looking for price to break, retest there, and continue, and that did not happen. So since this did not happen, we rather saw this break, okay, and a retest and continuations to the upside. So what happened in this case was DXY was more bullish than bearish, so we had to use this to our trading advantage. I think around Wednesday, which we send a trade calls on other pays, and which we were able to make money on those pays, which I'm still going to share with you guys. Okay, so moving forward for the DXY, let's check the weekly time frame and see how last week actually closed. Is very important. Okay, so looking at the DXY for last week, you can see for the previous few weeks I had pinpointed these areas, these chart patterns, and this zone in which price has been bouncing off these zones for the longest. So this could be a reason for concern. As you can see, price has been bouncing off here. Okay, price bounced off here once, twice, and a third time again on those areas. So this is actually cause for concern that had to happen for the third time, and we saw price closing each time it comes back to that area. It keeps closing with a doji candle, a shooting star candle, a reversal pattern, as the case may be. Okay, and also looking up, we have a lot of imbalances to the upsides. Okay, these are things that my mentees will understand, in which we teach on our mentorship. And by the way, our mentorship for the next batch of the February batch, March batch, is gonna get started in a week. So we are already taking registration. So if you're interested, slide into my DM on the Telegram community and make payments and learn from the prophetic analyst himself. So moving forward for the DXY, we have more room to the upside with less obstacles, but that would be easier when price is able to break the 99.274 to the upside. Okay, so let's go to the daily time frame to see how price has been creating the chart patterns in which, if there are chart patterns in which we are interested. Okay, so you can see this is, I think this is the thumbnail in which I used like 2 weeks ago. Okay, so price came back to this area again, and this area, it matches with this 50 moving average. Okay, you guys can see that 50 moving average coming from all the way from the upside. So this is also a cause for concern, how price is reacting off that moving average, and the moving average also matches with these zones in which we have had price react, bounce off over and over again. And the previous week also closed, the daily candle, the Friday daily candle also closed with this indecision candle. Okay, so with that doji candle, so this is a very cause for concern that we could actually have that sales that we were looking for on DXY from this particular zone of the 97.496 to the downsides. Okay, so what does this mean? I'm going to give you guys two-way scenarios and open mind towards next week. Okay, due to how price would be reacting, then we would know the best approach in which we are taking. Okay, so market structure wise, we are still on a bearish trend. Okay, if I squeeze my screen, you see that we are still on a bearish trend, price creating lows, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Okay, you can see, so price is still very much on a bearish trend until price is able to break this high. Okay, you see that high there. So how can we, so this is actually for the bearish side of things. If price wishes to continue, if I see like a daily candle close here, a daily bearish engulfing candle close here on maybe Monday or Tuesday, or I see a 4-hour bearish engulfing candle close here, we could take that, we could know that price is ready to go bearish. Okay, but let me give you guys another scenarios to things of the more bearish sides or the more bullish sides by going to the 4-hour time frame, so that we can see the best levels. Okay, so what could happen in this case is I'm still trying to find out if this is actually a proper divergence. Okay, if this is actually a proper divergence, looking at price is slightly coming down here on the RSI and price is going up. Okay, but we can't conclude that if this is actually a divergence. Why is this so? Because there is no break of market structure, which means there is no break of this support, which is the neckline of the yet to be acclaimed divergence. Okay, so for the bullish side of things, all right, I would love to see two-way scenarios. I would love to see price to either continue from here, push all the way to the upsides. Okay, or I would love to see price come all the way to this area of interest, this previous areas of interest in which price has been reacting off, which is the zone of the 96. Okay, the 9697.05. then we could have that proper bullish continuations. Okay, to the upside. So this is actually the bearish and bullish scenarios. Like I always say, keep it locked, and due to how market performs, like we always say, we have to wait for price to play out before we react. Okay, we have to observe price before we react. So that's it for the DXY. Up next is EURUSD. For EURUSD is quite tricky. Like I said, why is this so? Because the DXY itself is quite tricky. All right, so I'm going to give you guys bullish and bearish scenarios. Okay, no gimmicks here. So all what we need to see for the previous week, EURUSD has been super bearish. Okay, for the past weeks EURUSD has been bearish for last week, and we had more of bearishness on EURUSD, and the opposite is what we saw on the DXY, which was the bullishness. Okay, so this was how we were able to send some trade calls. Okay, actually those were, I think, USDCHF and USDJPY trade calls in which I had to send to you guys because I understood the directional bias of the DXY. Okay, so moving forward for EURUSD actually closed on this area. All right, so we have two zones, and we have two bullish zones, which is this first zone and this second zone. Okay, the second zone here in which price just reacted from is the 1.17335. okay, so all what we need to see price is a little proper break. Okay, another proper break here for the bullish side of things, guys. Okay, like I said, I'm going to give you guys two-way scenarios this week because price looks a little bit tricky. Okay, for the bullish side of things, price will break here, create a new high, a retest, and a push continuations at first level, which is the 1.186. then we can go all the way to the 1.1977 to the upsides. Okay, and for the bearish side of things, guys, for the bearish side of things, price looks very good, like right about here. Okay, we would see price maybe a little bit of range on these zones. Then we would have, if I have a good bearish engulfing candle to the downsides, okay, I can shoot my shots. If a good bearish engulfing candle happens here, then we can target our next support, which is a 1.1733, and we can go as 1.167 to the downsides. Okay, so very easy busy. So all what we need to do is wait for price to play out, and then we can react. Okay, so that's it for EURUSD. Up next is GBPUSD. So for GBPUSD, same thing or similar things from EURUSD. GBPUSD last week was also super bearish. Okay, we were able to make some good money 2 weeks ago on the buy sides of things, but it looks like price had to choose the pullbacks. For me, this is actually a pullback. Okay, this is actually a pullback until price breaks this yellow bar. Okay, that's when I would certain that price is ready to go totally bearish. Okay, so we still have some bullish instinct on this. So let's go to the weekly time frame so I could show you guys more to what price is doing. Okay, so looking at price, we can see price is ranging here, and we have this area, these two zones, which price can still bounce off either of these zones. Okay, so this first one has actually been broken, but price is close to this second area. Price could still bounce off from there and continue bullish. Okay, we are still, even here on the weekly time frame, we are still clearly bullish. All right, like I always say, remember price moves in a wave. Okay, this is the wave. Price doesn't move in a straight line, either up or down. Okay, rather it moves up in a wave or moves down in a wave. Okay, so that wave is what we are seeing. Okay, which we in between we normally have those pullbacks and those continuations. So let's go to the daily time frame to look for the best zones possible. Okay, so on the daily time frame, you can see these were pullbacks, and we also have a trend line coming all the way from the downsides to the upsides. Could it be that price wishes to react off this trend line? Okay, we can also see same thing on the DXY, how price closed last week with this doji candle, which is the indecision candle. So we could still clearly have price react off that trend line, and also this minor level of interest and a push continuations to the upsides. Okay, so that's us having a good maybe a daily candle close. Okay, a daily bullish engulfing candle close to the upsides, or maybe a break of structure. Let's check the 4-hour time frame to see how price looks. Okay, so here on the 4-hour time frame, price looks more bearish than bullish. Okay, truth be told, price looks more bearish than bullish. The price is now reacting off here. Okay, and we can see that pullbacks that could happen there and more continuations to the downside, but we have to be careful. Like I said, we have to be super careful before we react. So if this does not go bearish, okay, the best thing or the best approach for this is to wait for this high to be broken. All right, a break, and this trend line too to be broken, a break, a retest back on that trend line, then we could target our first level, which should be somewhere around here, which is the 1.3892 one to the upside, okay, before we could see price go as far as the 1.37910. okay, so that's it for GBPUSD. The last but not the least, USDJPY. So for USDJPY last week was one of the best trades in which we took. I think we took USD center, USDJPY and USDCHF almost simultaneously, and which we were able to make good money for ourselves last week. So USDJPY, we have been seeing, looking left, we can see how price was ranging on these zones, okay, for the part of 2 weeks ago, and this shown a clear strong area. So all what we needed was price to break, to retest. If you check your minutes time frame or your hourly time frame, you see that break and retest, and it puts continuations to the upside. So that was how we were able to send the trade calls on price on USDJPY, and with the help of our correlation, okay, trading correlation, which we use with the help of the DXY. okay, so we understood the directional bias of the DXY. DXY was more bullish for last week, while so if that happens, we should be expecting same thing to happen on USDJPY and USDCHF. So as at the time, DXY was super bullish between Monday and Tuesday, okay, but the case of the JPY, USDJPY, price was still in this range, okay. So all what I needed was to just see price break out of this range before we could continue buying, okay. So that's it for the USDJPY. So let's look for the best level areas possible for us to take our trade calls for the coming week. So let's check for the weekly time frame. So we can see on the weekly time frame, price looks on, let's see the trend, price is actually ranging, okay. All right, but you can't use all of this to judge in price, okay. So for the longest of this minor trend, mind you, this is a very huge trend on the lower time frames, okay. So since April 2020, between March and April 2025, almost a year now, price has been bullish on the DXY, okay. So could this be that this is a retest on this moving average and a continuation, okay. So how can we know this? We keep diversifying to the daily time frame, okay. We diversify to the daily time frame. So let's look. So here on the daily time frame, our areas of interest are still holding strong, okay. Areas of interest are still holding strong. So I'll give you guys the two-way scenarios on the daily time frame. This looks bearish, okay. Price could range for here for maybe like 2 days, then we could have price continue bearish to the downside. Like I said, I'm going to give you guys two-way scenarios this week because price looks a little bit tricky, okay. So let's go to our 4-hour time frame to see how we can take either bullish or bearish side of things, okay. So for the bullish side of things, okay, for the bullish side of things, price could come either to these phase zones and price would move to the upsides of the next level, which is our next target, which is the 157 to the upsides, or we could see price come back to reacting off this key level, okay, this minor key level, which is somewhere around here, before that bullish continuations to the upsides, okay. So this is actually a two-way scenarios for the USDJPY. So that's it for this week, guys. If you watched this video to this very moment, please do want to smash that subscribe button, like, share, drop a comment on the comment section, and always remember to plan your trades and trade your plan. See you guys in the inner circle. Cheers.